in the meeting. And we are up on YouTube, Mr. Chairman.
Give me just a few more seconds, Madam Clerk. I'm about to switch from my phone to my laptop. It's my little circle is going around and like a exercise wheel. So hang on one more second for me, folks, if you don't mind.
How's everybody this afternoon?
Good, Mr. Mayor.
Everybody's good. Everybody's great.
Good. Chelsea and I are feeling well. We just came from the Red Cross blood drive, right, Chelsea? There we go.
Yeah, I had my juice box and ate my Oreos. I'm feeling back in tip-top shape.
Good. Y'all, we're open for business down at the gym this afternoon if you want to go over there and help out by donating the gift of life.
Recording in progress.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I think I'm here. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for the delay, but technical difficulties got in my my way over here. So I think we've got a quorum, Madam Clerk. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Everyone is on.
Okay. Let me grab my notebook. And first order, I'm gonna call to order the Public Safety Committee meeting September 13th, 2021. And as a matter of personal privilege, I'm gonna start us off with a moment of silence. As we recognize, of course, the 20th anniversary what we commemorated this past weekend of 9/11. And I'm certain that most of us have our personal reflections and personal stories that we could probably share with one another. It's hard for me to believe that it's been 20 years since that fateful date. But there was one thing of a theme that came across listening to all of the commemoration events was not what happened necessarily on the 11th, but what happened on the 12th of September. As this country soldiered through that very devastating and tragic date. And we picked ourselves up, dusted ourselves off, and we moved forward. And we've been moving forward for the past 20 years. And just want to express my sincere thanks to all of our sworn officers, both police and firemen. Our first responders are always there on the front line. And God bless them all. This is an event that affects not just the New York Fire Department and the New York Police Department. It affects everybody throughout the country and every fire department and every police department throughout the country. So in our moment of silence, let's just reflect upon what occurred 20-something years ago and keeping our hearts, those men and women who perished, their families, and those survivors. Amen.
Amen.
All right. And Madam Clerk, I think we've got several minutes of June 10th, 2021, June 14th, 2021, July 19th, 2021, and August 16th, 2021.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The first other item next is the review and adoption of the city's emergency operations plan. And Chief, looks like you've given up your chair to let someone sit in your seat to talk to us about this plan.
Nope, you're ready.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the
Froze up
committee.
on us. You froze up on us there for a second.
I froze up for a second.
Okay, can you guys have me okay?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, Mr. Mayor, members of the committee. Thanks for the opportunity to review a very important document with you today. This is the city's emergency operations plan, updated, revised January of 2021. The last one was August of 2015, signed by Mayor Riley. This one is not completely unlike the last one, but is a little bit different. We're aware that the vulnerability assessment was completed a couple years back, and that has really helped us to update city emergency operations planning for the future. We use this as a supplement to the state of South Carolina and Charleston County emergency and Berkeley County emergency operations plan. So it's a supplement to those and gets a little bit more in the weeds in terms of operations for our city. To assist us in building out this document, we've established relationships with Alexandria, Virginia, and Denver, Colorado. We got in touch with their emergency operations, emergency management folks, and sort of did a review of their emergency operations plan. And that has really helped us to kind of shape and update this plan and keep it within the confines of our professional kind of the way the expectations of emergency management. This document has been reviewed by city legal already, and we expect we'll do another review with them on the back end of it. Now, what I wanted to do today is just put it in front of you and briefly go through the plan itself, and then kind of just explain the construct of the document. The section that you're looking at today is really just kind of an industry standard. Okay, so it doesn't really get into the weeds about operations for the city itself. This EOP looks very similar to cities that are like Charleston's. If you look at the third page, there's a table of contents, and the first couple pages there, again, the table of contents, the mayor's acknowledgement. And Mr. Mayor, this is just something I took the liberty of drafting, knowing this is your first opportunity maybe to see it. Certainly open to any and all comments that the committee may have or the mayor may have. Again, this is just in draft form. So there's the acknowledgement, and there's a signatory page that would go to each department head throughout the city. And then finally, a resolution that basically outlines NIMS, or the National Incident Management System, which is the framework that the city of Charleston uses in times of crisis. When you think about, our activations, when there's a declaration, and how we have city staff populate the Municipal Emergency Operations Center, we stand up our incident command system. That is in line with the national industry standard. The city has done a very, very good job, particularly folks that are from other departments that maybe don't have the background in emergency management or emergency services, really have done a phenomenal job in the 3 years that I've been here with all these hurricanes and different events that we've seen. It's been fantastic to watch that happen. So we've got a great team here. And the NIMS section of this, the NIMS resolution, really just sort of identifies the city of Charleston as operating in that way. I'm going to kind of skip through this. I would welcome you to review it as your time allows. And I would be open to any comments or questions you might have at the end of this. But what I want to say right now is, at the back of this document, at the back of the emergency operations plan, there'll be a number of annexes. We've got a couple of them completed already, and those annexes are sort of the living section of this document. Each one of the annexes will address a specific contingency or a specific threat that the city faces. And you might guess the ones that we've already completed would be hurricanes, and are obviously some of the flooding protocols that we follow in the city. You'll recall we established a level 3, 2, 1 flooding warning system here for our city staff in terms of how we would activate a PSOC and all of that. That's all rolled into these annexes. In 2022, the goal is to do an annex for earthquakes and for hazardous releases, hazardous substances, spills or releases. And so what we would like to do is build an annex for each one of the threats that is outlined in the vulnerability assessment that was done last year. And then finally, another major section that would be used in conjunction with the emergency operations plan is a COOP plan or continuity of operations plan, which is something that municipalities are not mandated, not required to do. However, we know that, you know, the city of Charleston isn't afforded the luxury of just shutting down and packing up and going home. We're really always moving, particularly as we talked about earlier with our first responders. We have a responsibility to keep the city going. And so in a time of crisis where we've been hit really hard with some sort of emergency, we will need to be able to continue to operate, and a COOP plan helps us to do that. As I speak to you right now, one of our emergency management folks is actually in a national level class for the next 4 days in COOP planning. And the hope is that in 2022, we will leverage his completion of that program to do a COOP plan in addition to this EOP. So with that, happy to take any questions you might have.
That was a pretty good synopsis, I think, overall.
Mr. Chairman, I think you froze up. I think you're back. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Any members of the committee? Mr. Mayor?
So I want to thank Shannon and Chief Courier and everybody, Tito, who's been working on this. And not just to bring it up to date, but I want to just note that what Shannon is trying to do is bring some real uniformity and continuity for our emergency management plans and department, so that, you know, from one event to the next, as personnel changes or whoever's on duty changes, that we have as much consistency as we can to how our response unfolds and what's expected during our responses to particularly events that have become somewhat repetitive, like the flooding and the hurricane. So thanks for thinking about it in that way. And that way we build that institutional knowledge so that down the road, it makes us more resilient when everybody knows what's expected of them. Thanks.
Any other committee members have a question? So Shannon, one of the things that crossed my mind, and this may be a little bit off base somewhat, but while this is deemed an emergency operations plan, which takes into account coordination with other agencies and other municipalities and stuff, and I'm looking at Councilmember Seekings, who's Mr. Cooper River Bridge Run guy. Does this address those kind of events like the Cooper River Bridge Run? Because you kind of are doing, it's not an emergency when we do the Cooper River Bridge Run, but it is a huge undertaking, particularly now in today's world with security measures. Is that something that we would roll into this as another appendix or annex into this report? Those kind of events?
Yes, sir. That's a great question. And the document that I have in front of you right now does speak in broad terms about special events and just generally how we structure ourselves and when there's a need for, or potential need for contingency operations. In an event like the Bridge Run, where you're looking at normally about 40,000 participants plus spectators and multiple municipalities and jurisdictions from the FBI on down, we do fall right into the NIMS construct. So we're doing we're constantly working on this document known as an incident action plan, an IAP, which is populated by all stakeholders that are charged with supporting a major event like that. And so it's addressed in broad terms in terms of, referencing the National Incident Management System and that sort of thing. But when you talk about multiple jurisdictions, we would go to the county EOP and the state EOP for that.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification. All right, and we're just receiving this for information purposes right now. We don't need to vote on this. Is that correct?
That's right, sir. It's just being put in front of you to let you know that it's being worked on right now. We're at a place where what we've got in front of you is, I'm confident that's an industry standard. And then plan is to, from here, you all give me your feedback on it. And then at another meeting, we'll take a vote to move it through the remainder of city concurrent clearance. And then make it a live document at that point.
Okay. All right. Well, seeing there's no other questions and there's no action to be taken on this, we'll move on to item number 4. Thank you, Shannon, and your staff for the wonderful work in putting this together. This just makes good common sense, I think, what we're trying to accomplish here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Chief Curry, for letting me use your seat.
Absolutely.
Item number 4 is
Mr. Chairman.
approval.
Mr. Chairman, we got 4 and 5 as the approval for memorandum of agreement between the CPT and James Island and Berkeley County Schools and this SRO's officers. I move for approval for both of those if you don't have any questions.
Is there a second? To join 4 and 5 together for approval?
Second.
Yeah. All right. Any further discussions? Anybody from the police department want to weigh in on any information for either 4 or 5?
I will just say that these two are the same as they were last year. At the prior meeting, you approved the one for Charleston County, and this is for James Island Charter High School and Berkeley County School District. So nothing's changed.
Okay. Any further discussion on items 4 and 5? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 6 is approval to accept the 2021 Port Security Grant in the amount of $785,000 for a SAFE boat vessel and digital X-ray system. Who's going to take us up on that item?
I'm here to speak on that one, Councilman.
Okay.
And so I can speak to the 2 items for CPT, which are the safe boat and the digital X-ray systems. So the safe boat actually it's the same boat that was purchased 2 years ago on the port security grant. We've had a large increase in requests for assistance from the U.S. Coast Guard with security zones and safety zones. And the safe boat that we currently have is currently the only boat capable of operating in inclement weather conditions. So if approved, this rapid response boat will be in addition to the other and will actually replace one of the patrol boats purchased in 2006. So we currently have around 3 patrol boats, 1 utility boat, and 1 airboat. If there aren't any other questions about that, I can move on to the digital X-ray systems.
Go ahead.
Perfect. So the 2 digital X-ray systems will be used when dealing with explosive devices related incidents on any vessels or port property. This will allow the packages to be X-rayed with a quick identification system and not require returning to land to develop the X-rays. This grant would budget for 2 systems.
Okay. And so our total matching grant is $196,389
Correct, for all 3 projects.
for all 3 projects. I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 6.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or
Yes,
questions?
I just want to ask a question on the request for the budget as a cash match. Where's that money going to be coming from? What area? I don't know.
It would be coming, well, for the 2 projects that are broken down for CPD, it'll be coming from the CPD match budget, and then the other 2 will be, or the other 1 will be coming from fire.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Chief
That was
Courier? I saw your hand being raised. I didn't know if you wanted to weigh in on that.
Just very quickly, on the agenda, there's a comma that's missing. So there's 2 projects from the fire department on there. It's updating the technology on the hazmat response unit, and it's also providing marine firefighter training. So I wanted to make sure that it's clear that there's 2 projects from fire in there.
So that the hazmat response is 1, and then the marine fighting training is the second.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about 4 different items in item number 6.
Correct.
Okay. And then, so your portion would come, there's a portion for those 2 items coming out of your budget.
The 196 is the total, and it would be split among police and fire, budgeted in the FY22 budget.
Gotcha. Councilmember Shealy, did I see your hand go up?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I wanted to ask, does this take care of just the ports that are within the city of Charleston, or are these also to help with other ports in North Charleston and Mount Pleasant as well?
I guess, is the question related to the boat vessel or the marine firefighting training?
Either or.
Well, I can take the marine firefighting and then kick it back to Chelsea. For us, it's going to be focused on Charleston, but with our automatic aid agreements with all our response partners, we would certainly make sure that we provide assistance to them when needed.
I have the same answer. They are prioritized for rapid response in Charleston, but again, the agreement that we have with Seahawk is mutual aid. So,
Thank you.
The follow-up on that question from Councilman Shealy, is there any state money that could be available to help defray the cost of some of this?
it's possible that there could be. I'm not currently aware of any funding sources, but typically when you write into the grant proposal where that match is coming from, that has to remain consistent. But I mean, I think that's something that I could look into for future years when considering these costs.
Because we are going sort of, to Councilmember Shealy's question, we are going beyond just the city limits. We're helping other jurisdictions and potentially other state owned state-run facilities, potentially. You're talking about the state sports authority would be involved in this. I just question. So yeah, Chief, you.
So just to add to that, just last week, some of the area fire chiefs met with the U.S. Coast Guard, and it was just to talk about the threats in the port, the threats up, going up towards North Charleston and past North Charleston into Berkeley County, and the fact that it's speaking strictly for the Charleston Fire Department, we are equipped to handle distressed boaters and small incidents. If there is something of a larger magnitude, say there's an issue on a container ship that is coming into the port, that is a situation that exceeds the capabilities of all area first responders combined. To use Jacksonville, Florida as a recent example, they had a fire in a ship, and they were required to put about 150 first responders on scene within about 15 or 20 minutes. Obviously that exceeds our capabilities. So the focus of last week's meeting with the Coast Guard was to try to figure out how to address that. And what we have come up with is in tandem, putting together a steering committee, and then also trying to figure out how to fund a threat assessment for the port, which then would give guidance for how we treat these emergencies going forward.
That makes sense. Okay. Thanks for that update, Chief, and that explanation. Any further discussion or comments? Call for the vote. All those in favor of item number 6 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Item number 7 is a approval to accept an award for an elder advocate and resource specialist for the CPD Victim Services Unit. This project requires a 20% grant match of $16,836. And then the city will be responsible for covering additional program costs not covered by the grant, resulting in a total match of $51,000. Who's here to talk about that item from the CPD? Hello?
Hello.
My Hollywood Squares, I do not kind of movements on here. It's CPD.
We
Well, I
lost a
see
lot
some of
people
us,
there.
and some of us are gone.
I think we lost just about
I didn't do
everybody.
anything wrong this time.
I don't know, Mr. Chairman.
I didn't touch any buttons, I promise. I eliminated half the city council, public safety, response team. Shannon, where are you?
I saw Jason on there, Jason Barner on there. Yeah, he was on there. He got lost all of a sudden.
Captain Walker was on there as well.
Everybody got lost.
Dan Curry just sent a text. My computer just crashed.
His and about everybody else's, apparently.
Oh, maybe a city issue.
Could be.
Great.
I think in this instance, Mr. Chairman, what I would suggest is that we adjourn this meeting and leave it open in case we have some technology issues, so we can take
I'm
up the
calling
last
Jennifer
matter.
now, so let me find out what's going on. Well, so did everybody else. So the only people left are the three council members, the four council members, and Mallory. I didn't do anything, Jennifer. I promise. There you are. You're coming back on.
And we're just going to wait for a few more people to come back on. I think we had something happen with our internet down here.
Where's it?
Mr. Chairman, with who we have on, can we go ahead and move for approval and then have discussion on 7?
Actually, everyone is signing back in now.
Good.
All right, so let me know when Jennifer, when we're back online. There's the mayor.
We're back on.
Everybody's back.
All right. So we were on item number
7.
7, dealing with elder advocate and resource specialist for CPD.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, are we recording again too or not?
Oh, I'm sorry. I see that we're live on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
We
Okay.
are on YouTube.
So everything's back to normal.
I hope so.
Did I miss anything?
Yes, sir. We've voted to everybody got kicked off who was not remote. So us four council members were okay. It was anybody else who had a city account got knocked out.
I see.
All right. Are we ready to vote on item number 7?
I move for approval.
Second.
Okay. Any
Right.
further discussion? That's item number 7.
I think you wanted someone to explain it.
Yeah. Did anybody from CPD want to explain this a little bit more?
Sure. Is this the elder advocate grant, the VOCA?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
for
sorry, I'm
51,000.
sorry I dropped off. I'm glad it wasn't just my screen because it was my item. So this is for, I think it's about the 5th year that we've had this grant for 2 positions in our family violence unit. One is the elder victim advocate and the other is our resource specialist. Both carry a caseload. To give you an example, in 2019, we had over 2,000 crimes reported that involved victims over 50 years of age. So again, as I said, our current advocates carry a consistent caseload. The importance of this work cannot be understated. However, funding has been cut from this grant for the past 3 years consecutively. So we are required to carry a total match of $51,442 to cover the additional program costs that aren't covered with the grant. We're hoping that they'll reinstate some of this funding next year. But we're going to be looking at trying to potentially look at absolving these positions in the years to come, as they've brought a lot of value to that unit.
Very good. All
So,
right.
so that money would be coming from the match funds?
Yes, sir, from the department, the police department.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Any further questions or discussions as to item number 7? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approval of item number 7, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Any further business that come before this committee? And before we get booted off again, I'd move for adjournment.
Amen.
All right? And I'll see a good number of you guys in about 30 minutes for our next real estate committee meeting. Have a good
Bye-bye.
afternoon.